listening to Something Cheeky, a collection of podcasts where two sisters discuss TV, books, and movies with just enough irreverence and far too many pop culture references. Welcome to Something Cheeky, where we discuss the TV series Vikings. I'm Nikki.
I'm Rosanna.
While I've watched the entire series, Rosanna has only watched up to what we're covering today, which is Season 2, Episode 6, Unforgiven. In this episode, the Borg and Earl Douche agree. Payback's a real bitch, ain't it? Rosanna, what's your reaction to this episode?
This episode was kind of all over the place.
Yeah?
Locationally, and also just
Wait,
characters.
locationally?
Yes, locationally. It's a word. That's so posh of you, Nikki. No, it's locationally. Alright, fine, geographically. But also, the characters, I had a really hard time, tracking their thought processes. Because it seemed like they kept doing the opposite of what I thought they were going to do.
Like Siggy said Ragnar always does.
Yeah, except everybody was doing it, including Siggy.
Yeah?
This was a weird episode for her. She pretty much undid what I said about her when she was in my top 3 as a character that had changed a lot in those 4 years. That apparently was all an act.
Yeah, she came out with a lot of truth this episode.
Yeah, so she totally had me fooled, for sure.
What was your favorite quote this time?
I picked a quote by Floki, because he's got just good lines, but this one wasn't really that funny. He said, and he's talking to Bjorn, "He fooled you, young Bjorn. He never denounced his Christian God. He was our enemy, and we should rejoice at his death." So he's talking about Athelstan, and I knew that he didn't really like Athelstan, but this was really passionate. I mean, he was passionate about how much he hated Athelstan, and that he was excited that Athelstan's probably dead.
Now he doesn't have to worry about sibling rivalry anymore.
I suppose. But that's the thing, though. I don't think that's... I mean, I think that was part of it, probably. But I think when he's talking in this specific quote, he was mad at Athelstan because he wasn't faithful to either religion. And I think to Floki, that was offensive.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is fair to Athelstan. But I think that's where Floki was coming from. And even though it was really intense and I really love Athelstan, I still like Floki.
The way he speaks, they let him do such crazy voices. It's really fun to listen to him. Yeah,
I almost picked a quote when he was talking, when Siggy came up to him and said, "Can you keep a secret?" And he just giggles and says, "No." That was my number 2 quote if I got 2 for this one.
Yeah.
It was so funny. And he giggles like a child.
He does.
It's like he acts like a child, but
a really dangerous child.
Yeah, but he talks. I mean, the stuff that he talks about and the way he talks about it is very old and serious. But the way he says it is like a child.
He does seem to really embody a Loki feeling.
Yeah, he does.
I think there's a good reason they gave him that name, Floki.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's the name he was born with. I don't know.
I don't know. You know, when we're talking about Vikings, and then also it always reminds me of Lies of Lagertha, it's like, how many of these names are their actual names, and how many are names they just gave themselves, or somebody else gave them, based on their personality.
Let's get into the action. We'll start with the seer, since we were talking about Siggy, and she had her own kind of little scene in the beginning, where we find out exactly what she wants, her previous importance. Mm-hmm. She seems really bitter, she's angry, she wants to know if the gods are ever going to smile on her again. The seer kind of talks around it, saying the gods will always smile on brave women, like the Valkyries. But you notice he does not say, yes, of course the gods will smile on you.
Right.
So I don't ever really trust the seer.
Yeah, I think a lot of times he's intentionally vague and leaves his prophecy, or is that what he calls it, a prophecy?
Yeah.
Up to interpretation. And I can't tell if it's because that's the way he wants to do it, or if he believes that that is what the gods are letting him say. Because he said that before, I see what the gods show me and I say what the gods tell me to say. But some of it, I think, maybe he might keep to himself.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell how much he's holding back.
Ah.
Yeah. And the licking of the hand is still disgusting.
It is.
It's so gross.
What was that you said in like the first episode? You hope that he has some weird fruit roll-up.
I hope that there's a fruit roll-up on there for the actors to lick. Yes.
That's still gross. That does not really make it much better.
I think it's a little less gross.
In Wessex, we're with Applestand. He's back to his peaceful illustration work. Ecbert says he's gifted and starts questioning him about pagans. Applestand said they have no art, which seems kind of odd to me because they have decoration. I mean, I guess they don't have, paintings. But I guess, what is art? That's always a question for everybody, so it's hard to define.
I didn't like that either, because yes, they do have art. It's just not a painting on a wall.
Yeah, they have jewelry, they have, architecture in their ships. They've got all kinds of stuff that's just for visual appeal.
Yeah, and not even just architecture of their ships. Don't they carve things into the ship?
Yeah.
I mean, graphics. That's art. That's what that is. I did not like that he said that. It did not make any sense to me why they would put that line in there.
Yeah, it didn't seem fair.
No.
He mentions very cautiously that the Norse gods are very old, and sometimes they seem similar to the Christian God and Jesus.
Right.
He was very careful about that one, said it very slowly.
Well, yeah, because they'll just crucify him.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time he puts a toe out of line, they're going to put a nail through it.
Oh.
Rosanna, you're the worst.
Ecbert actually gets really excited and shows Applestand some Roman art. Says he's a kindred spirit, which I love because Anne of Green Gables. Come on. Yep.
Me too. I was right there with you.
Yep. And he says he's starting to trust him. Ecbert seems very boyish in this scene, in his excitement about all of this and having someone to share his secret with.
Right.
I mean, he's got a room full of illicit art, basically, that no one else will understand. It's our little secret.
But so he's got the sculptures in there, but he also has some sculptures on display, too. So
yeah.
What is not okay and what is okay? Is it the writing that he's concerned about hiding?
I think it's the writing and the friezes or the art on the walls, which depict, obviously, gods rather than just a figure in a sculpture.
Okay.
So that is, false idols.
Right.
And also, even though nobody else can read it, mostly, the Latin in the scrolls.
So that makes me wonder, though, where did he get it? And some other people must know that he has it.
So he spent time with Charlemagne, so he was in, deeper Europe, closer to Italy. And so he may have gotten Roman stuff when he was there, when he was on the continent. That's what I figure. Maybe he started a collection at that point.
Maybe so. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he didn't get it all at once.
Yeah. But Athelstan, when he goes in there, all I could think was Belle when she sees the Beast's library. Just eyes wide in wonder.
Totally. I didn't even think about that, but now that you say that, definitely.
Athelstan's going to be the librarian, and he's going to, I guess, just copy all the scrolls so they are preserved. Because they look pretty dusty. Like, I don't know how long they're going to last.
Right. But he's not allowed to talk about it.
No. No, it's Ecbert's still so boyish, and even with the threat, like, everything's so wonderful, and I'm so glad that we get to share this. But if you tell anybody, I'm going to kill you.
It's like, do you want to be best friends? But also, I might murder you.
Let's move on to Kattegat.
Okay.
Where a whole hell of a lot happens.
There was a lot of action in this episode. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened.
Yeah.
It was not a filler episode at all.
Yeah, we had a lot of plot furthering in this. For every character, basically.
It almost seemed like it had enough stuff for 2 episodes. I mean, there was just stuff going on the whole time.
Yeah, once we hit about 2/3 of the way through the episode, it was moving really fast.
Yeah.
All the stuff, once Borg showed up.
Right.
Everything was double time after that point.
Yeah.
I had a bit of a hard time keeping up then, because I take notes when I watch the episode, and I was pausing every 90 seconds to write something down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It made the episode take a really long time to watch. So in Kattegat, at the harbor, Horik returns. He's got 1 ship, hardly any men. Everybody's waiting for him on the dock, which seemed a little odd to me, but I guess he's the king, so, it's all gather.
I mean, he's a king.
I love the Floki and Helga going all PDA in the background with each other. That was adorable.
That was cute.
They get to dinner, and Ragnar wants to know what happened after he left Wessex. Horik says, Ecbert betrayed his promise to Ragnar and attacked them. he and his son, Erlander, barely got away. Of course, Ragnar asks about Applestand. So this caught me by surprise. Not only does Horik not know, but he doesn't care, and he says Athelstan was a worthless individual. I don't know where this came from.
What did Applestand ever do to him except stay and offer his help?
Exactly. That's the last time that we saw him together.
Yeah, and also King Horik, a bunch of his people died and Athelstan got away, sort of. So he gets no respect for that?
I do not understand what Horik's about here, unless he's trying to provoke
Rile up Ragnar. So here's the thing too, though. Do you remember when they were torturing the bishop?
Mm-hmm.
And Horik was mad and he said, "I hate you more than the gods hate you"?
Right.
He's got some issues.
He does.
He's mad at people for weird reasons.
In my notes, after I had the note about him calling him a worthless individual, I just had, "Poo on you, king jerk."
Yeah, he is a jerk. I liked him so much better the first episode he was in, and now he just grosses me out.
Yeah.
Especially after this episode. I mean, I didn't like him before this episode, but with the whole thing with his son and Siggy, it's just gross. Why are you so weird?
That was terrible.
Also, they didn't even close the curtain.
Yeah, he sat there watching, like he was evaluating.
Freak. So weird.
It was pretty gross, yeah.
It was very uncomfortable.
I was happy that Bjorn stood up for Apple at this point.
Me too.
And really said that, he was part of their family when he was a kid. He was important.
Well, he was with them for a long time. And he was nice to them. I mean, I think he was like an uncle, sort of.
Horik wants to go back and get revenge on Ecbert. Rollo chimes in and says he wants to go too, and Ragnar agrees. Do you think Rollo's actually going to be allowed to go? Has he redeemed himself with getting everyone to safety in the hills? To go to England?
Did I think he would be allowed to go? Oh, to England.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about going to get Borg.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm with you again. Okay. I think he is showing Ragnar loyalty, especially after the other stuff that happened in this episode. And I think he's also showing humility. And I think that those are going to get him farther into being allowed to go. I think that Ragnar appreciates those things. And the thing, too, is, it's hard to say because we don't know what happened in the 4 years in between. But before this 4 years had passed, all Ragnar wanted was to have his brother. I mean, he valued that relationship. And I think that it would be easy for him to let Rollo back in.
Yeah.
Because he wanted him there. Not to mention, Rollo's a really good fighter.
Yeah.
And they can't be super picky about who gets to go since they've lost so many men.
Yeah.
But I think Rollo has proven himself worthy of forgiveness from Ragnar. I'm still not committed that he's worthy of forgiveness from me. But I think from Ragnar's perspective, he's worked a long way towards it.
At this point, the slave girl spills on Bjorn, and he suddenly notices that she exists. Mm-hmm. It seems very interested.
Yes, he
And
does.
Ragnar definitely noticed Bjorn's look at the slave. At first I thought, man, that guy doesn't miss anything except obvious signals from his wives. Totally over his head. Everything else, though, he's got.
He also missed all the times when Rollo was mad at him that led up to the betrayal. So he's got a couple of blind spots.
Yeah, unimportant stuff. Also, is that the same girl that Ragnar flirted with in front of Aslog that she got mad about?
I wondered that
it is,
too.
Right?
And is it? I thought
I think
it
it
was,
is.
but to me she looked not
Maybe it's
familiar.
Not okay.
But I don't know if it was or not. I don't know if we're supposed to assume it was. Yeah.
Now I feel bad that I don't recognize separate women.
Well, but people can look alike, Nikki. I mean, that's not mean to people. Some people just look alike. They have a whole website about finding your non-related twin. Did you know that?
I didn't. That's weird.
Yeah, you upload your picture and it finds... Because supposedly you look like 7 other people in the world, or 6 other people in the world.
Wasn't there some crime show that used that? Some CSI or something?
I don't know.
Where somebody got killed based on... There was. I know that I saw this somewhere.
Okay.
Somebody used that kind of website. What's another crime show besides CSI?
Which CSI?
Oh my god. It was not CSI or Law & Order or Criminal Minds.
It wasn't Criminal Minds, because I've recently watched 11 seasons of it. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. It's like Twin Finder or something. But it's not really a twin as much as a doppelganger, really. I never used the word doppelganger much until Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm like, ooh, doppelganger. That's a word from that part of the world, right? Swedish or Danish or something. Doppelganger.
It's got, it's something Scandinavian because it's got umlauts.
It's got what?
Umlauts.
What's that?
The two dots over the... I'm not sure if it's over the O or the A.
I don't know either. Boy, I do not know enough about this conversation to keep having it because I'm just coming up with more questions than answers, which is actually, like, should be the name of my autobiography.
Was it elementary?
Well, if it is, I haven't gotten that far. Which is weird that you're calling that a crime show. I mean, yeah, technically it is, but...
Well, it was elementary.
Which season?
So it's a Sherlock Holmes show. So, back in Vikings... Horik wants to ally with Borg again.
Oh,
Seriously?
man, when he said that, I got so mad at him.
Why would Jarl Borg trust him?
I don't know.
At this point. After what Borg did to Ragnar, why would Ragnar ever agree to this?
Okay, Horik is dumb. Super unreliable. I think Jarl Borg is desperate.
Yeah.
And that's why he agreed to it. Because they've all lost a lot of people. And he knows the only way he's going to get to go and raid and check out England is if he does partner with them. I think he just thought exactly what he said, that Ragnar was a better man than him if he had agreed to free. But that's dumb to think that that's true. Because have you ever met Ragnar? I mean, really.
He is inscrutable. Are those words?
So frustrated with Horik. I mean, they made this deal that all three of them were like, this is kind of the best thing we can get to at this point without killing a bunch more people. Also, it'd be good for everybody, for us all to work together. We can get, farther that way. And then Horik's like, no. So then Borg gets mad at Ragnar and screws everything up and kidnaps his family. And then Ragnar, obviously mad at Borg about it, goes and fights him and kills a bunch more of his men. And then King Horik's like, but we still need him. Hello, why didn't you come up with that a year ago before you screwed everything up? None of this had to go this way if you were just going to end up at the same end.
It's like middle school politics with really, really high stakes.
Why is Horik so stupid?
He said later that he didn't expect Ragnar to go along with it, but how would Ragnar have been able to turn him down?
Right. Was he trying to trip him up, or was he trying to catch him to where Ragnar would say no and then King Horik could, go off on him? Was he looking for an excuse to fight?
It's hard to tell.
None of it doesn't make any sense.
Aslog even pulls Ragnar to the side and tells him not to listen to Horik, which I think is some pretty good advice.
I agree.
And Rollo is sent off to treat with the Borg. I'm wondering at what point Ragnar told Rollo his plan. I'm guessing it was before he went to Borg.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
He looked a little smug, giving him the whole, my brother's a different kind of man speech.
Yeah. And at that point even, so Borg, I understand that he's feeling a little desperate, and he also feels like if things could just get swept under the rug and everything could be okay again, that would be best for him. But look who he's dealing with. Somebody who betrayed Ragnar to fight with Borg, and then betrayed Borg to go back to Ragnar. And he's just going to trust him?
Yeah.
Was Rollo really the best person to send on this mission?
Like Horik said, he's closer to him than anybody else.
And this whole episode, it was just back and forth, back and forth. Is anything that anybody said up front? Was anything that any of them said the first time the truth? There's a lot of backroom deals.
Do you think Horik just wanted Rollo to go so he could have Siggy to himself?
I don't want to say yes because it's gross and it makes me uncomfortable, but maybe. It's kind of like on The Man in the Iron Mask, where the king wants to have this girl as his mistress, so he sends her fiancé to the front lines to get killed so he can sleep with her.
That's pretty shitty.
Haven't you seen that movie? Yeah, it's horrible.
It's been a really long time.
So the fiance that he sends to the front line to get killed, well, he tells the girl that he's going to keep him far away from battle, but obviously, so he sends him to the front line. The father of that kid that died is one of the musketeers.
Ah, okay.
So then he's like, I wasn't in it before, but now I'm in it. Let's take down the king. So, there's a little aside about that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio that I think I've even mentioned on the show before.
I think so, yeah.
It's a good movie. I mean, it's entertaining. I'll leave it at that.
We go to Siggy's house now that Rollo is gone, and she's drinking wine with Horik and Erlander the son, which I'm guessing must be from England, the wine. I don't think they have vineyards there. Doesn't seem like it. Well, and he says it's a strange drink, so it makes me think it's rare.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Horik wants his son to understand, I guess, the game of politics. He says the game, but just all the strategy and, I guess, the backroom deals, like you said. And he asks why she sleeps with him and tells him about Ragnar, and she says everything she does for Rollo. And if he rises, so will she, and so it benefits her in the long run. And then Horik basically offers Siggy to Erlander, and it's super gross and horrible.
Yep.
And she's shocked and offended, but takes her no time to agree to it. Just because, like she said, she'll do anything for Rollo. And this will help Rollo in the long run, she thinks.
I think that she's regretting her decision to get into bed literally and figuratively with King Horik to further Rollo's position. Because I don't know that she thought all the way through what it would mean if she got to a point where she wanted to say no. Because she can't now.
Yeah, she'll undo all the progress that she has made.
Yeah. And maybe even get killed. I mean, he's a king.
Yeah.
He could do whatever he wants to.
I'm not sure what progress she has made. I don't know. I mean, yes, of course, having a relationship with a king can be good for you. However, I don't know if it's done anything for Rollo yet. And I'm having a hard time seeing what it would do for him.
I think what she wants is to have King Horik's confidence in her information about Ragnar. Because if somehow Ragnar gets taken out of power by Horik will say, well, I think I'll have Rollo be the Earl then.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's the only thing I can think what her plan might be, is to turn Horik against Ragnar and on to Rollo.
Yeah.
But she hasn't really seen the changes in Rollo that the rest of us have then, if that's true. Unless his loyalty is fluid.
In another part of Cat to Cat, Bjorn shows up all rakish and princely looking. He looks kind of like a Disney prince at this point, in his purple cloak.
Yes, he does.
Off to the side, and he wants to help the slave girl, whose name is Porin, it sounds like.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
Starts asking inappropriate questions, like, where do you sleep? And do you have a boyfriend?
I love how she said, of course.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen me? Of course I have a boyfriend. I thought it was weird, though, that they used the term boyfriend.
I wrote that, too. It seems way too modern of a word.
Exactly, modern, yeah.
But I'm not sure what word they would use. Partner doesn't sound quite right.
I agree. And, I mean, what would they call somebody that's more casual than a significant other or a mate or, before marriage?
And if he said, do you have a man, that would seem a little too, 90s R&B speak for me.
I got a man.
What is that song?
There's What a Man.
Yes. I love that
song. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man.
Yes, he is.
Is that Salt and Pepper or In Vogue? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I want to say it's Salt and Pepper.
You're right, it is Salt and Pepper. You're right. Because there's the whole part where they're, you remember the music video where, one of them's in the bathtub, and then there's, they're talking about how he looks in his jeans. So 90s.
That was, MTV years right there.
I want to take a minute or two to give much respect to the man who's made a difference in my world, although most men are hoes.
Goes on the down low, because I never heard about him with another girl.
But I don't sweat it, because it's just pathetic to let it get me involved in that. He said, she said. We're so good. We're the best rappers ever.
Yeah. That was an amazing rendition. Really just spot on.
Thank you. The other day I went to the library and I checked out a Paula Abdul CD. And I played it in my car. I did. I was like, he's a cold-hearted snake. Look into his eyes.
Uh-oh.
He's been telling lies. Yeah, I was singing that with my windows down, driving through town. People are like, is that Paula Abdul? I'm like, y'all know it.
Remember when we used to choreograph dances to Two Steps Forward?
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I don't know why people don't think we were cool. We were the coolest.
We were amazing. Aslog and Ragnar are talking. She doesn't understand why Ragnar lets Horik decide everything and why he seems to be willing to forgive Borg. Though he's been notably silent on that subject, about whether he's actually in this alliance or not. He's never said yes.
Right. He never said, well, I forgive him.
He did not. I was surprised thinking back on this at the end of the episode, because if Rollo knew about the plan, he didn't tell Aslog the plan, which is kind of odd, right? Because he definitely would have told Lagertha, right?
Oh, I'm sure, yes.
Yeah, that seemed unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he is not interested in her advice.
Yeah.
Maybe he's tired of hearing it. I'm just saying, because she says that she sees things, and maybe he's just tired of being told. I mean, he kind of seems like that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she says her father wouldn't have allowed it, and Ragnar is so sassy. Your father cannot do too much now, being dead.
I loved that comeback.
Just slay. That was great. And later Bjorn sees Bjorn dancing for everyone. Seems to have a serious crush on her, and seems a little jealous of all the men watching her as well.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the Borg's house. This guy is... Rollo's talking with the Borg and Mrs. the Borg. And the Borg has his first wife's skull, who apparently advises him.
Because of course she does.
Yeah, he's just trolling us with his skull. He's petting it and he kisses it and just...
It's weird.
Or he's...
I mean, I want him to be messing
insane
with us because otherwise it's too weird.
Yeah. Rollo gives this great side-eye at that point when he picks up the skull. And I feel like I want a montage of the reactions on this show that made me laugh because they are all over the place.
Yeah.
Back in Kattegat, Rollo returns with the Borg and his poor wife, who has to carry this freaking skull around with her at this point.
So weird.
Yeah.
How come the skull didn't travel with him earlier?
It's a good question.
Why is it just coming up now?
And she gives some back talk too, like, should you ask her? Would you like to ask her? With the skull, that was great.
I'm sorry. Did you want an opinion? Probably ought to ask the skull.
She looks really resentful about all this.
Well, she already said she didn't even want to be there when they were there the first time.
That's true.
And they dragged
now
her
she's
back.
Yeah.
She's like, this place is dirty and gross, and I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pregnant. That's another thing. So Aslog's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way we can tell how much time's passed. is belly watch. That's how we know.
It's often been that way with Lagertha and with Aslog. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Watch. The Borg says he swears to be loyal. Ragnar admits he didn't want them with him, but realized it was to his advantage to put the alliance back together.
So he'd have the opportunity to murder him.
Yeah, still obviously not saying, but I am in this alliance. Just, it seemed like it would have been an advantage. He's very careful with his words.
He is, yeah.
And Siggy and Horik are talking, and she says she won't sleep with Horik's other sons because she's not a whore. And Horik says, no, just for me. I was like, oh, I wish that she could slap him, because that was terrible. And of course, Floki hears the entire thing.
And he can't keep a secret.
No!
And he doesn't even try to say that he can. He's like, nope.
And it's pretty obvious later, when Siggy and Rollo were together, that he definitely told him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, not just that he can't keep a secret, but he actively gossips about things that he hears.
Yeah. Well, and so, I mean, we could say a lot of things about Floki. One of the things about him, though, is he, on occasion, could be a little holier than thou. You're not practicing our religion right. You're not doing it as well as I am. You're a cheater. I'm better than you. I think he sees himself as better than a lot of these people.
Pretty arrogant.
And I think it's a lot because of his faith.
Yeah.
I really do. I still like him, though.
Then we get Aslog telling the story of Loki and Logi eating from a giant trencher, trying to make it to the middle first. And this is interspersed with scenes of different things happening around Kattegat. Do you have any interpretation as to why this particular story was what was told?
I was thinking that the whole time she was telling it. Like, what does this mean? What are we mirroring, you know?
She didn't end the story with like so many stories have a moral of the story. She didn't end with that. It ended with Logi having eaten not just the meat, but the bones and the trencher as well.
I think it has to do with Ragnar versus anybody that's standing in his way. Just that he is aggressive and his opponents are aggressive, but he goes farther. He goes all the way. He pushes it to the end. He's not content just to eat the meat. He eats the bones too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. He doesn't leave anything to chance of him not winning everything.
Yeah, he goes all the way. Or maybe she was just telling a story because they wouldn't stop talking and go to sleep. I don't know. Been there, girlfriend.
I like your interpretation, though.
Yeah? Is that what you thought? What'd you think?
Sure. That's what I thought. No, I thought about it later, and I'm like, I'm too tired to try to figure out what this is about. I'll ask Rosanna.
My brain stopped working 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Horik sees Ragnar standing outside in the dark with an eagle, which is also a little weird because we've never seen him do any kind of falconry before. It's a little strange.
Yeah. I almost thought he was, like, sending a message.
Yeah.
Like Game of Thrones style, because I was like, why else would he be standing there with a bird? What is he doing?
It was very strange. It was very ominous.
But you know what, that was the funniest part, is that you could see exactly what was going through Horik's head. Like, he tilted his head like, why? What? What's he doing? He just was so confused, as we all were.
Yes. We see Siggy and Rollo together, and, she goes up to him, and he gets really angry and leaves with an axe. I wrote down, loose lips sink ships, Floki.
Floki doesn't mind.
No, he does not care.
And I don't feel super sorry for Rollo just because he's not been the most faithful and devoted, partner.
Yeah.
But I don't know if maybe I just feel like he's come to expect some loyalty from Siggy because she's stayed with him this whole time.
I think he's mad that she cheated on him, but he's also mad that he has no standing to be mad because he did the exact same thing.
That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
He's mad at the whole situation.
He's mad at himself, yeah. I think he's been, working on himself. And this probably is sort of like a slap in the face.
And I think that if this had been 2 episodes ago, Rollo versus current Rollo, it would have been a very different scene.
Yes.
Probably a lot more violent.
Yeah.
Did you think at this point he was just leaving because he was mad, or did you think that there was actually something happening? Because he was obviously going to...
Did I know he was going to go burn down the barn? No, I did not know that.
Because he took his axe, so we don't know what's going on at that point.
When Torsten said, of course, to Ragnar, when Ragnar said, go put Borg's men in the barn, he said it really sarcastically. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what are you up to, you guys? But I did not think that Rollo was going to be in the middle of it.
I didn't think plot.
That's where he was headed. Yeah, I didn't know that's what was happening.
I think this does say a lot about how Ragnar and Rollo's relationship has improved a lot. The fact that he was in on this whole secret plot.
Yes.
It bodes well for their relationship.
Yes, they're mending bridges, Nikki.
It's like a Lifetime movie.
It is.
The Borg wakes up super suspicious. It's not super clear if he's dreaming at one point. He sees the seer and remembers what he said about the eagle. He sees an eagle. I don't know if he's dreaming. Maybe he had some of those special mushrooms that they had at Uppsala. I don't know.
Maybe so.
And then they shut all of Borg's men in the barn and burn it. They're very tricky.
And tell him that you won't die if you're quiet. And of course they immediately start screaming.
Yeah, I think they did that so they would not come and throw themselves at the door, because there were more of them than there were guys outside.
I see.
So it gave them a second to get the door blocked and then light it on fire.
Yeah.
At that point, I actually wasn't positive it wasn't Borg in the barn. But then obviously we found out really quickly he had his own little place.
Yeah.
And then Floki walks by and Rollo says, "Isn't Bjorn with you? I thought he was supposed to be with you." And Floki's like, "I don't know where he is. Whatever." And keeps on going.
It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
It doesn't matter. And Bjorn, of course, is supposed to be with Floki, but he's off trying to get in Porm's pants. He does the whole, I don't want to make you stay here. I want you to want to stay here kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's...
Bjorn, where are you getting your pickup lines? They're terrible.
He's obviously new at this.
It's very new.
It's not smooth at all.
No.
Rollo and company burst into Borg's room. He's standing there with a sword waiting for them.
Yeah.
And he's in this stance that's just like, I figured this was going to happen.
Yeah. He looks very, like, resigned several times this season.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, this might as well happen.
Yep. Especially this time and at the beginning of the battle last episode.
That's just where we're at. What did I expect?
Yep. Rollo looks really self-satisfied, too, with this whole situation.
He does. I think the Borg usually is one of two expressions. Crazy eyes and resignation. That's all he's got.
Yeah.
He's made some bad choices and he knows it.
He attacks, but he's captured super fast because there are so many guys there. And as Rollo says, I told you, I always look for revenge. Someone goes to hit Torvi, Borg's wife, but Rollo stops them, which I was very happy about.
Yeah, me too. Why would you pick on her? She's pregnant. Leave her alone.
It's terrible. Floki and I think it was Torsten beat Borg pretty badly and drag him into the Great Hall where Horik bursts in, asking what's going on. And all I was just thinking Sense8 with the song, Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
And Horik again, just confusion.
Yeah.
Like,
no idea.
Why am I 3 steps behind you guys? What's happening? I thought I was running this show. And Ragnar's like, nobody listens to you. You're the worst.
And still, this does not explain why Ragnar was outside with the eagle. It had nothing to do with the rest of the show.
Oh, I guess because, like, right after that, we see Borg and he's thinking about the eagle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of eagle symbolism, but it was very out of the blue.
Are we supposed to attach Ragnar holding the eagle to Ragnar being an eagle, who is the eagle standing over the Borg that is also the eagle?
God. I heard you liked eagles, so I put an eagle in your eagle.
I heard you liked eagles. That's exactly it. Oh my god. That's the only thing I can think is that they needed to throw that in there because the seer talked about eagles. I guess.
It's like what happened. There was some point in the first season that had, maybe when they were telling Athelstan about Ragnarok, where it was just over the top and didn't really belong there, but it's like they wanted it just for dramatic effect.
Yeah. We filmed this scene. We have to stick it in here somewhere.
Yeah. It didn't really make sense with the whole... Oh, did you notice in the very beginning of this episode, they had a long shot of an eagle flying?
Oh, no, I don't guess I did.
The only reason it caught my eye was because it seemed to go on a little too long, and I was like, maybe someone just had a nice nature video they wanted included, and somebody thought it was really pretty. But,
just throw that in there. Yeah.
So, I mean, the episode started with an eagle flying, too.
Yeah.
Borg gets dragged in. Ragnar says he's going to draw a blood eagle on his back and split his ribcage apart like wings. Borg seems very upset at this idea. Mm-hmm. Did any of this mean anything to you?
Nope.
I didn't think it would. Okay.
I assume what it means is that he's going to carve an eagle into his back, and then he's going to cut him open in the middle and pull his rib cage open like when they do open heart surgery.
Seems really unpleasant.
Is that correct? Am I right?
No. Are you right? I'm not telling you anything.
I thought you were going to tell me like some sort of historical Viking torture procedure.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But for now, let's go to Hedeby. I saved Lagertha for last.
Woo-woo, Lagertha.
Earl Douche is being super gross. We find out...
He's being douchey.
He is! What a surprise. I hate that guy.
Yeah, so bad.
We found out Lagertha did go without his permission, and he is drunk and angry and airing their dirty laundry in front of everyone.
And he can't even stand up straight.
No.
He's a mess.
He's pissed that Bjorn didn't come back, which made me wonder, does he need fighters or does he just want control over everyone?
I thought that was weird too, that he argued about that.
And obviously he's jealous of Ragnar, or of the place that Ragnar held in Lagertha's life.
Yeah.
He calls Ragnar a self-important opportunist, and I can't say he's wrong on that count.
No, that's not inaccurate.
And claims Lag's still in love with him, which she does seem like she might be at that point.
I think she definitely still cares about him.
Yeah.
And like I said a couple of times, this marriage between Lagertha and Ragnar didn't end because they stopped loving each other.
Right.
It ended because Ragnar wanted sons, and Lagertha refused to stay after being humiliated.
Yeah.
It's not because they fell out of love.
Yeah.
So it's easy to see that they probably still care about each other a lot.
Yeah. Lagertha is in bed in regular clothes. It's always weird to me in the show when they go right to bed. I thought that was weird too. And it's not like it was just this time because she was suspicious, but it's happened before where Ragnar and Aslog went to bed in their day clothes.
It's like they just put something on and wear it for like 4 days and then just put on something else for the next 4 days.
Yeah, it's very strange.
They don't change into night clothes.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I wear when I close my eyes and hallucinate for 8 hours. I read something like that. I thought it was funny. I didn't say it right, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Lagertha is beaten at night with clubs of all things,
though
too.
She got in some good jabs,
Oh, yeah,
though.
she did.
I actually thought she might even prevail.
Yeah. She was outnumbered, though.
Until they started hitting her with other stuff.
Yeah. And she had no weapons.
Right.
The next day, they're at a meal, and Earl Douche is being terrible again. What's the matter, my love? You don't talk, you don't smile. While she's sitting there in obvious pain and humiliation, and her face is
she's
just
like,
messed
I can't
up.
smile. My mouth is swollen shut on that side.
And I'm just hearing, can't smile without you, in my head.
That would have been really disrespectful if they used that
in the background.
Yeah.
He starts going off about her beautiful breasts and how they're as good as Freya's. I don't know who's staring at Freya's breasts, but it's pretty obvious he's going to rip her shirt open in front of everybody.
Yep.
She has had enough and turns around and stabs the motherfucker in the eye. Loved it.
You go, girl.
Loved it.
So good. She's like, you can talk smack if you want, but if you think you're pulling my shirt off in front of these people, you're going to lose an eye.
Yeah. Or a brain.
And then your whole head, which is great.
His scream just, ugh. Yeah, one of the men comes forward with a sword, and for a second it seems like he might be against Lagertha, but then he just cuts the Earl's head off.
So, and that man, I think, is like douchebag's uncle or brother, or he's a relation to him, but I don't remember what.
I enjoyed Lagertha standing there at the end. She just had, like, Borg's crazy eyes going on.
Yeah.
Well, crazy eye, because one was swollen shut, but...
Yeah, she was kind of like, okay, am I going to have to fight somebody? Because I just stabbed somebody in the eye, so come at me, bro. I mean, she was ready.
Yeah. Well, next week, we're going to discuss Season 2, Episode 7, called Blood Eagle.
Okay, that sounds gross.
All right, Rosanna, I'm going to tell you one thing about this episode. It's not really about the episode. It's something I'm going to tell you not to do before this episode. Okay. I don't think you should eat anything before you watch this next episode.
It's going to be a popped open rib cage, isn't it?
I'm just going to tell you right now, prepare yourself, gird your loins. Okay. It's going to get bad.
All right. On a scale of My Little Pony to Hemlock Grove, where am I at on the dinner scale?
I'm going to have to go with True Blood Exploding Vampire Body.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I won't eat them.
Yeah, don't. Just don't.
It's pretty gory.
Yeah. So...
Gross.
I know, usually I would give you a spoiler, but I think this one, you need to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, so Borg looked terrified
He did.
about this procedure. So I'm imagining it is extremely painful.
Things are unpleasant. Yes.
Like for a lot of the show, or... I mean, are we talking like 20 minutes?
I gave you as much as I'm going to give
torture? You. Okay. And you can't fast forward on Hulu the way you can with Netflix.
No, you can go 10 seconds back, but there's no 10 seconds forward.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There should be.
Yeah. All right, Rosanna, let's do your top 3. What's your category this week?
The top 3 people I was worried about during this episode. Number 1, I was very worried about Applestand.
Oh.
Mostly because of what has happened to him in the last couple of episodes, but then... when he started bleeding from his... What do you call it when you bleed like
stigmata.
A crucified person?
Like the movie.
When his stigmata started, obviously we know that was his mind doing that. He wasn't actually bleeding. So his mental stability, I think, is continuing to deteriorate. I wonder if working with the Roman scrolls will actually help with his mental stability, give him something to concentrate on, focus on.
Yeah, give him more of a purpose.
Yeah, but the problem with those scrolls is that it's still a struggle between Christianity and a religion of gods. He's still straddling the fence.
Well, this is even more than that. It's introducing now a third set of gods, it seems like.
Okay, I guess, that he was considering the Roman gods and the Viking gods to be the same gods, but different versions, different names.
Okay, like Roman, Greek, and all that, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm hoping that some of this stuff is going to help him sort of get through this, but I'm also still concerned that he's not really being pushed in one direction or the other. He's still just kind of going down the middle. Mm. I really liked his cute little double braids with the part down the middle.
Yeah, that was nice.
So adorable.
I liked his new outfit, too. More priesty.
I did, too. Mm-hmm. But then also, I mean, I just don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
Which way he's going to go. Is he going to stay in England? Is he going to go back with the Vikings? Does he even want to go back with the Vikings? I'm feeling like maybe not. So, I don't know. I am worried about him.
Yeah.
He's in a bad spot. Locationally and mentally.
Things relationship-wise seem to be maybe looking up for him. He seems to be becoming more of a confidant to Ecbert. But that puts him in a really dangerous situation.
Yes, that's what happened with Ragnar.
Yeah.
And he stayed to help King Horik, and he, got screwed then too. So I don't know that being in that position is safe at all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the king said, I'll kill you. So it's not like they're gonna hang out.
He hasn't gotten to take a bath with him yet, so can't be that good of friends.
Well, there is that. Ooh, is he going to? I would like to see Athelstan without his shirt on. Let's move on. Number 2, Bjorn.
Oh.
I was very concerned for Bjorn in this episode because he asked Porin where she slept. She said the barn. We see the barn doors being shut and lit on fire. Floki says, I don't know where Bjorn is. So I thought Bjorn was hooking up with her in the barn. And I thought he was getting killed. I thought he was going to die.
Oh.
When I saw him in the next scene that he was in, I was like, oh, thank goodness. My girl Lagertha can't take that. Because before she left, she said, I'm leaving my son in your care to everybody in the town. Yeah. And then if he got burned alive...
She would kill Ragnar. Oh my god.
She would probably stab him in the eye.
Yeah.
And then that takes us right into my number 3 person I was very scared for, which was Lagertha.
Yeah.
I was really worried when she got up in her room during the night and they came in and she started fighting them. She was doing really well. But 3 against 1?
Yeah.
And they had weapons and she didn't? That's not fair. And then I was, of course, terrified that they were going to rape her. That's where my mind went, because they're Vikings. And we talked about that.
His wife, I don't know. Though who knows, because he obviously has no respect for her.
Exactly. He told them to go beat her up. He might have said... and also teach her place. Mm-hmm. We don't know. So I was really worried about that, and so obviously I was very relieved that didn't happen. I actually was ready to fast forward, just in case. And so, when she was at the table the next day, just completely beat up, and so...
She was cowering.
Yeah,
she was looking down, she wasn't meeting anyone's eye.
Yeah, kind of defeated. She looked defeated. And I was like, no, come on, Lagertha. Look what you just did. You just rescued Ragnar and helped with his family. And you fought, and you're better than this, and you're stronger than this. And I just didn't know how much she was going to take. And then as soon as he got up and started touching the top of her dress and stuff, I was like, oh, he's gone too far. You could just see it in her face. She's like, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. And she stabbed him in the eye, and I was so happy she did. I've never been so happy to see somebody get stabbed in the eye before. But it was amazing.
Yeah.
And he was, I'm sure it hurts a lot to get stabbed in the eye, but he was such a baby about it.
Well, and her knife wasn't long enough to, I guess, get him in the brain to kill him right away. But she probably did. What is it in Liza Locklemore? It was to tickle the heart with your knife under the ribcage. It was like tickling the brain with the edge of your knife.
Tickled his brain. Yeah. She poked him in the brain. And I was super excited that somebody else came up and proved that she had people on her side.
Yeah.
So if you have Earl Douchebag and Lagertha running the place where you live, I mean, whose side are you going to be on, obviously?
He's that much of a horrible person to her. Imagine what he does to other people that he's not married to.
I want her to just be the Earl now of this place.
So what do you think's going to happen with that? Let's move into predictions.
I want her to rule this place.
When Ragnar killed Kattegat's Earl, he became Earl.
Right.
So we don't know what's going to happen with Lagertha. Does somebody else take over? Does she get it? What happens?
Well, technically she didn't kill him.
That's true. He would have died, I'm sure, if he was left to his own devices, but...
Maybe. But the other guy cut his head off. Maybe he'll be Earl now.
Maybe.
But I'm pretty sure they're related.
Okay.
I would think that since he's the one that cut off the head, maybe he's supposed to be Earl?
Okay.
Or maybe they'll just start a democracy and vote. I don't know.
Yeah, that seems likely.
Vikings love democracy.
It actually isn't that different from what they did. I mean, they voted for their leaders.
Unless you killed one.
Yeah.
Then there was no vote.
Yeah, but it wasn't monarchy that way.
And not by blood. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in that part.
What about Horik? What's happening with Horik?
Did I say last week that I wouldn't mind if he jumped off a cliff or walked off a cliff?
Yeah.
I still feel like that. He's worse than useless. He's dangerous by how terrible he is, by how inept he is. His ineptitude is dangerous. And
when we found out he didn't even expect Ragnar to do that, it's like just on a whim, he's just trying things.
He's turned into like a sitcom character.
So he's just turned into every other Donald Logue character that he's ever played before?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I think part of it is the expressions he was making in this one, especially the confusion with the eagle.
Which I did love that look, though. That was a pure Donald Logue expression.
He's a comically incompetent character. He's making terrible choices left and right because I don't think he thinks ahead at all. At all. He doesn't look to see what the result will be of his action.
Yeah.
He just waits for it to happen and then reacts to that. So, I hope he's a sleepwalker. Just walk off a cliff.
What about Borg? What do you see for him?
Oh, Borg's totally gonna die.
Oh.
He's getting way murdered next time.
Getting way murdered.
Way murdered. Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of sad for his wife.
So what do you think is going to happen to her if he gets murdered?
Maybe she'll move in with her sister Helga.
So, listeners, if you missed this before, the women that play Helga and Torvi in the show are actually sisters in real life. They're the daughters of Michael Hirst, the show creator.
And they look
a lot alike.
I'm assuming she'll go back to... Is it Gotaland?
Jotaland.
Where they're from? Jotaland. I'm assuming she'll go back there. I feel like she probably has family there. And since she's pregnant, I think it would... And she doesn't like it in Kattegat anyway. Not that anybody offered to let her stay.
She does have family there because he was excited to be able to use them.
Oh, yes.
When he invaded.
So yeah, maybe she'll go home to her family. Oh my god, if they kill a pregnant person, unforgivable. So hopefully they'll just let her go home.
Wait till you see the first episode of the Orphan Black season.
Why? Who's pregnant that they're killing?
I don't know.
They don't kill Helena, do they?
Of course not.
Is Helena in danger, Nikki?
I don't know, Rosanna. I, of course, have no idea what's happening on Orphan Black.
You know what? I'm going to watch the second episode after I watch the first one before you, and then I'm going to dangle something like that in your face. I don't want Helena to die. I love Helena.
Helena's the best part of Orphan Black.
She's so good.
What about Bjorn and his little crush? He's love-struck. She doesn't seem interested.
She doesn't at all.
No.
I think that Bjorn's probably going to England at some point this season.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's going to develop into anything before that.
All right.
I really don't know. Because he's hitting on her badly. And she's rebuking him effectively.
Yes.
So it doesn't seem like it could really go anywhere.
And he's being respectful of that, which I appreciate. Well, he's still pushing, but
right.
He definitely could do.
He's not forcing.
Yeah, he could take advantage of his position very easily.
Which, why are we giving a man props for not raping somebody?
That is so true.
Right?
Vikings, what have you done to my sense of morality?
Exactly. I'm going to have to put your feminist membership card on pause for that.
That's not good. I promise to be a better feminist.
Good, you should. But really, that is the society that they're living in.
Yeah. So you said you expect he's going to be going to England. So what we know is that they don't have many people. They don't have ships. So it's probably going to be a while until they can go back.
It's a fair point. I know Ragnar really wants to go, and Ragnar usually gets what he wants.
Yeah. Well, Borg has ships and men. I don't know what happens to them if he does get murdered, like you said.
Ragnar gets all his stuff if Ragnar kills him, because that's how you expand your, not kingdom, but
territory.
Your territory. That's how you expand your territory, is by killing whoever's in charge of it. That's what Borg was going to do to Ragnar.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets his people, because they seem to live far away, so it's not like he could be Earl of both places effectively at the same time.
Maybe he's going to let them rule themselves. He's just going to take the ships.
Maybe Rollo can finally be in charge of something.
Oh my gosh. Maybe.
What about Lagertha?
I think that since her husband is dead now, there's nothing really keeping her there. And the only reason she went back was because of the husband. But she would have preferred to stay with Bjorn.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine she's not going back to Kattegat.
Okay. Now it's time for Cheek of the Week, where we talk about something we really like and want to share. My cheek this week is something that I hope you all have. But if you don't, you really need to buy the A Song of Ice and Fire set by George R.R. Martin. I've read this series. There are 5 books out so far of the 7. This is what the show Game of Thrones is based off of. Also, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, you should watch it because it's a lot of fun.
You should definitely watch it.
And if you're a fan of Vikings, you're probably going to like Game of Thrones. It's a lot of the sex, a lot of the violence, but it has dragons too. Like real dragons.
Way more sex and actual nudity.
That's true, yes. But A Song of Ice and Fire is a fantastic series. I've read it a couple of times now, but I've read it all on ebook because it was just easier than carrying around giant books. They're big books.
They're big books.
But for Mother's Day, my mom got me the leather-bound set that I've been watching on Amazon for 2 years that I've wanted this set. And it's beautiful. It's these lovely, and they're actually they're about paperback size in the dimensions, but they're obviously pretty really thick. And they have that paper, like old Bibles have that kind of thinner paper. Yes, that just feels nice to turn those pages.
I would really like to see these books.
They're beautiful. I'll post a picture. They're just lovely. Yeah, they all have their own color.
Really pretty.
Yeah, and they all just come in this little just cardboard box where they can keep them all together.
Yeah.
But they're just lovely on their own. They have the nice leather covers. They're not massive. I'm so used to like giant hardback books that are just so difficult to carry around. But it's just
overwhelming. To read from.
Yeah. But it's just a beautiful set, and the story is amazing. I love it. And now I get to read them in my hands, which is such a nice experience. After all the ebooks, there's something that will never really replace a physical book for me.
Partially the smell.
Yeah.
The book just smells good.
Yeah.
I have 2 things to say about that.
Okay.
One, I was just talking to my friend at work today, and she has not read A Song of Ice and Fire, and she's never seen Game of Thrones.
She's a unicorn.
Isn't that weird?
She's made of rainbows.
Yeah.
You need to talk with her.
I cannot believe that she has never seen Game of Thrones and she's a reader. She likes to read.
Wow.
And she's never read them. Isn't that bananas? And the other thing I was going to say, Mom gave me a set of books for Mother's Day also.
Oh, cool. What are they?
She gave me the box set, which was on my Amazon list, of the Peculiar Children series.
Oh, cool.
The 3 books, the Mrs. Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children and the 2 that come after it. And then there's also Tales of the Peculiar, which is a standalone book that's short stories about peculiar children.
That's cool. I've only read the first one.
I haven't read the other 2 yet either.
I haven't seen the movie. Have you, with Eva Green?
I have.
I love Eva Green.
I liked the movie. It was you, wasn't it, saying that you like when the source material and the movie are different?
Yes.
There's enough of a difference, I think, that you would enjoy that.
Yeah, I get too persnickety about them being perfect. If it's really, really close, I like some difference.
Yeah, they changed the characters a little bit and their peculiarities a little bit.
Okay.
what'd you say her name was? Eva Green?
Yeah. From Penny Dreadful.
Penny Dreadful. She's very good in this movie. I mean, she's very good in Penny Dreadful, too.
She's just amazing.
She's perfect for the part. I mean, she's very, very, very good in it.
Nice. Rosanna, what's your cheek this week?
My cheek this week is a person.
Oh.
A brand new person. A person that was born yesterday. I got my first nephew yesterday.
Not my baby.
No. My brother-in-law, so my husband's brother, and his wife had a baby yesterday, their first baby, and it's a little boy, and his name is Lachlan. And my husband and I have decided to nickname him Loki. So that's what we will be calling him. He was born with a little mohawk, which is amazing.
Oh my God.
He's so adorable. I got to hold him today. We went to the hospital to visit him. He's tiny. He's 7 pounds.
Aww.
And I just cannot wait to, babysit him all the time. Because he's a baby. He's adorable.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
And knowing his father, he's going to earn that nickname.
Yes, he will. He will be the god of mischief. So, my husband and I last year got our very first niece, your baby, Nikki.
Yes. Thanks you for letting me know. I wasn't sure.
Yes, that was your baby that you gave birth to last year. And before that, we weren't an aunt and uncle yet. That was our first nibbling. And then the next year we got another one and it's a nephew. So we've got a full set. A niece and a nephew.
A full set.
And we get to be Uncle Jeff and Xana, and we're super excited about it.
That is really sweet.
It's a lot of fun. He's so adorable. And I won't post a picture of him because I don't think his parents would want me to, but listeners, just imagine an adorable baby with a tiny little mohawk, because that's what he is. All right, listeners, you can visit our website to find all of our cheeks of the week, except for my new nephew. Learn about our other podcasts and send us questions and feedback, which we would love to get feedback from you guys. Tell us what we're doing that you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what you want more of. Give us suggestions for movies to cover, because we're going to start doing that with Wonder Woman. We would love to hear from you guys. And you can also support the show through our Amazon affiliate link at somethingcheekypodcast.com/Amazon.
That's our episode. Please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at somecheek and facebook.com/somecheek. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Dig-a-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.